I'm not sure if it's written into your code right now, but I think it's probably under the purview of the Planning Commission to decide that it's needed, if they feel that it's needed.
You had a great deal of participation in Fort Bragg, obviously, for this very special site that you have there. What would your recommendation be to organizations and community groups like this one who are always faced with a county that says it doesn't have enough planning staff, it doesn't have the kinds of resources to do this wonderful sort of planning, and isn't it going to be great? How does the community force that kind of planning into place?
Well, I mean, I don't really know an answer to that other than get supervisors that respond to your wishes. I think that's how you do it. If something is a priority, I tell you, in the city of Fort Bragg, if something is a priority to city council, guess what? It's my priority. Yeah. And you get it done. And it may, yeah, we're all understaffed and overworked. And people have this feeling that people who work in city government, have an easy life and it's not really hard. You're so wrong. We have night meetings, we have weekend meetings, we work 40 hours a week on top of that. I have 36 projects underway right now. So we're very busy, but priorities that are the priority of city council become our priorities. Mm-hmm. And their time schedule becomes our time schedule. They are our boss. What kinds of if we were to leave this property as industrial, there have been a lot of good ideas out there. We've heard hemp plants, we've heard alternative energy manufacturing plants, research plants. Do you have any sense of what is possible out there in terms of leaving it industrial?
Well, I would take the optimistic view that almost everything is possible. And here's what I mean. We tend to get told that manufacturing, which is often what people think of when we're talking this word industrial, that manufacturing has to occur at a very large scale. But one interesting exercise that's worth doing is that if you look at the 1,300 codes, which are all of the industries across the North American Industrial Classification System. So all businesses fit in this system. And you ask the question, in how many of these categories do we have more examples of competitive large firms than competitive small firms? The answer is a whopping 7. And in 1,293 categories, we have more examples of competitive small firms. So I would contend that unless, an example of a firm that's in the 7 that you don't want to do is central banking. Okay, that one's off. Nuclear power's in that 7. Okay, you can't do nuclear power on the site. But even one of the categories that you can do on the site, missiles and rocketry, it does kind of look like Cape Canaveral there a little bit. It turns out that there are 10 of these firms in this category in the United States, and 4 are small and locally owned. So that one is feasible. My point is that you can be open to everything in a small and local way if you work on it. But here, if there's any one point that I want to leave with you about how to think about moving ahead besides this one project, it's that land use is a poor approach to economic development. Zoning is great at applying some brakes and occasionally giving you a green light, but it doesn't do entrepreneurship, it doesn't mobilize consumers, it doesn't build business alliances, it doesn't get local purchasing and local investment. So you gotta work on all of these other things if you really want to get the right kinds of activities on that site.
Guess what? I'm going to disagree with him. Don't you like it sometimes when we don't agree? I actually think it's really, I've done a lot of economic development. I worked in Michigan for 5 years doing economic development with manufacturing companies, 5 years. And I also did economic development in the city of San Francisco for 3 years, working with the high-tech sector. And I have to say that communities specialize, and specialization matters. You can't do anything. You should stick to your knitting. What are you competitive in now, or what are you close to another community where they're competitive and you can launch off of that? And the reason for that is twofold. You have the supplier base to do it, you have the raw materials to do it, and you have the trained workforce to do it. So you get a way more bang for your buck if you focus on what you actually are good at. So what is Mendocino County good at? Well, it turns out we're pretty good at wood products, believe it or not. You know, and Fort Bragg is now looking at ways to go from, you know, the high-end board feet, million board feet per year GP model to the Kranoff, beautiful $3,000 fine furniture model. And somewhere in the middle of that, there's a strategy for us because we have an awful lot of people who understand wood, work with wood, carpenters, etc., in our community. What I see here for you, Kaya, is you are much better positioned to do industrial than we are in Fort Bragg. You have immediate access to 101. We have 45 to an hour over Highway 20, which, let's face it, no big truck really wants to drive over. I don't even like to drive in my little old Toyota. So I think you want to look at what is advantageous to this community. I think we are close enough, you are close enough to the high-tech center to start synergizing off of that. It's real clear that Santa Rosa has done a great job. I got my first walk-in. I'm the director of community development, and that means I do planning, building, and economic development. It's a big job. I got my first walk-in last week of a high-tech company that wants to move to Fort Bragg. 12 employees. They do back-end code writing. Awesome. We bent over backwards. I had them hooked up with a real estate agent within half an hour. We had tours set up. We have a business advocates program. We have 32 local business owners that have agreed anytime somebody comes into town, they'll stop whatever they're doing, show them around the town, talk to them about what's great about living in Fort Bragg, give them the skinny, if you will. Because for me to do that sounds like a sales job. But if it's another business owner who's been there, done that, it just sounds like someone who knows your language and is talking to you about it. So, you know, I mean, that's something that's very low tech that you guys in this room can do, you know, if you work with your county. And I do think you want to build on your strengths.
Thank you. We did have a question, and I know there are a lot of people here from Smart Growth, but I'm wondering maybe Richard Shoemaker wanted to know the contest for the best idea for that site. Is that contest still running, or did we have a winner, or? February 15th will be the cutoff date for that? Okay. Okay, great. And one last question, and this person wants to know why there has been such a paucity of articles in the Ukiah Daily Journal on this subject, which I don't think there have been, but I think we've run a lot of information about this project and what's happening and how the community feels about it especially. But I want to assure you that we will continue to cover it, and please write your op-ed pieces and your letters to the editor. We're happy to publish all of that material all the time. And with that, I would love to thank these two people to come here tonight and be so open with us. Marie Jones from Fort Bragg, and Mr. Schuman, Michael Schuman, author, whose books I understand are on sale in the back there.
And thank you, Casey, also. Much appreciated. I have a few announcements. Just quickly. First of all, there is food over here. The trick about this food is